Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group D, and today we will explain how to improve SRS system. First is we're going to start with the definition. What is SRS? SRS is a document which contains comprehensive description of intended purposes and environment for any software and development. That means, if we can see from the slide, it means an official statement of what the developer should implement. The developer will put all the requirement inside this specification. For example, if the user wants the system to have the receipt, so the developer will make a requirement and put in here. So next is a complete description of the behavior of the system to be implemented. It means that all the behavior in the system will be listed in here. Next is fully describe what the software will do and how it will expected to perform. So based on the requirement, we can see how does the system will work. Next is to include both definition of the user requirement and specification of the system requirement. The next is factor affecting SRS quality. The first is RSS, technical parameter, and the next is customer and users. Next, the organization, and next is the project. In the technical parameter, we have a lot of technical parameters such as unambiguous, complete, correct, understandable, and verifiable. It is one of the many of the technical parameters. All of these technical parameters will affect the SRS quality. And the next is the customer and user. They are the one that want to make the system for them, right? So we need their requirement, what they need from the system. If the requirement is not clear from the customer and user, then it will affect the system. Next is the organization. The organization is the study of the impact of organization factor of the quality of SRS is classified into several major variables, which include methodological and measuring factor, communication and interpersonal factor, and resource-related factors. And the last is the project. The cluster project composed of three types of variables, namely the RE process and the related stakeholder, the project managerial characteristic, the project tools and technique. We will move into SRS quality criteria. Okay, in the SRS quality criteria, there are a lot of them, but one of them is consistency, correctness, traceability, and also an ambiguity. And the last one is the organization. So the correctness we can see in here is the if every requirement represents something required of the system or software to be built. For example, every requirement in the SRS contribute the satisfaction of some need, and all needs are considered in the specification. For the correctness, if no subset of individual requirement stated therein is in conflict, some authors consider this attribute as internal consistency, meanwhile they are also considered external consistency. For traceability, it means that we can see there are cross-reference between other requirements. And ambiguity is that we can understand in one possible interpretation. No other cannot interpret it into other interpretation. Next is organization. An SRS is organized if and only if its content is properly arranged so that the information on logical relationship among adjacent sections is apparent and can be easily located by readers. Next is method of improving SRS quality. In here we find four, which is a spectrum analysis, mapping study, semantic web technology, and spectrum. So going to be point. First is spectrum analysis. Spectrum analysis is a method that allows us to identify the completeness and the correctness of the specification. It is applicable when the SRS is produced in a semi-formal notation based on the semantic structure of each sentence. Put in a simpler way, semantic analysis is the process of analyzing the concept of noun used in SRS and what it means. This method can help the stakeholder of different domains to understand the meaning of the reference and the terms better. Which is in here we can see the requirement frame, noun frame, and case frame. Spectrum analysis for quality requirement to validate requirement definition in a specification of a system, and also to trace the inheritance of quality requirement through software development process. That is a mapping study. So in mapping study is a comprehensive study of the evaluation of the software requirement specification technique. So through this method, which is research question, search process, and also inclusion and exclusion criteria. So if we use this method, we can find SRS problem, which is for example, ambiguous information, inconsistent information, missing information, extraneous information, incorrect fact, miscellaneous. Also, this mapping study also improve correctness checking, completeness checking, consistency checking, ambiguity solving, alternative perspective, formal method, quality assessment, reviews, and also glossary. Next is semantic web technology. Semantic web technology is for the ontology definition is a computer science. Is understood as a representational artifact for specifying the semantic or meaning about the information or knowledge in a certain domain in a structured form. So, if in ontology development methodology, several methodology for developing ontology has been described during the last 2 decades. The objective of this methodology is to define a strategy for identifying the key concept in a given domain. Thus, one is ontology representative language. Different languages exist for ontology representation in a machine interpretable way. Ontology language are usually declarative language, which are commonly based on either first-order logic or description logic. And the next is building onto SRS. So specification subprocess. In this specification process, we have a distribution of the domain, elaborating motivation, scenarios, and competency question, determining the ontological and scope. Next is concretization subprocess, which is defining classes and class hierarchy, identifying class relation, attribute, and properties, representing axiom and restriction. Next one is implementing subprocess, which is creating a computational ontology, verifying ontology, and validating ontology. So in describing the domain in the specification subprocess, we can see functionality, external interface, performance, attributes, and design constraint. Next one is the SPECWA. SPECWA is a framework. To be exact, it shows the actors that might have interaction with With it, for example, user can be requirement engineers or business analysis, tool supervisor, administrator, or any third-party tools. SpecQua provides several import and export features to ensure maximum interoperability with any third party. So it's a framework, and we also have the architecture in SpecQua, which is SpecQua Web App, SpecQua Web API, and SpecQua Core. Type of validation involved in a SpecQua, which we have in here, is consistency validation. Consistency validation is we have a consistency attribute values, consistency numeric sequence, and referential integrity. In the complete consistency attribute value, the SpecQua verifies whether the value assigned to a given attribute is a valid based on the semantic of its requirement, specification, language, intermediate language. And in the completeness validation, we also have completeness at model level, completeness at viewpoint level, completeness at construct level. And we also have an ambiguous validation, which is semantic analysis and terminology normalization. So for our conclusion, we have 4 ways of improving SRS, which is spectrum analysis, mapping study, semantic methodology, and SpecQua. SRS need to be best as it can be, correctness and consistency, which is in correctness and consistency to reflect clear and concise requirement. Low quality SRS can lead to low requirement interpretation and can lead to software failure. Harder and more costly to correct requirement once in development process. So before we go into the development process, we need to focus a lot in the requirement phase. Good SRS will lead to a good software at the end of product. If we have a strong requirement for this product, we're gonna have a strong software quality or good software quality for the product. I think that's all from us, and thank you for listening.